in varying colors according to its own nature. When the great sage Narada was glorifying the pastimes of the Lord with his Veena, the four Kumaras, headed by Sanaka, although merged in the impersonal conception of Brahman, were trembling all over. Another devotee once exclaimed, "Although I can achieve liberation simply by serving the devotees, my mind is still very much anxious to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose bodily complexion is just like a dark cloud." When a devotee is so anxious to contact the Supreme, that can also be accepted as a symptom of neutral love. Pure and mixed flavors. Generally, a devotee of Lord Krishna may be placed into one of three groups. One group consists of those who are completely dependent on the merciful affection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Another group consists of devotees who are dealing with Krishna on friendly terms. And the third group consists of those who are dealing with Krishna as his superiors with parental affection. These three classes of devotees gradually develop different relationships of transcendental mellow with the personality of Godhead. When the attraction for Krishna is based on only one particular humor, that humor is called Kevala, the pure state. One in this pure state of devotional service gradually develops the desire to follow in the footsteps of an eternal associate of Krishna, e.g., to follow the footsteps of Radha, the personal attendant of Krishna in Goloka, Vrindavan, or to follow in Krishna's friends like Sridham and Sudam, or to follow Nanda and Yashoda, devotees in parenthood. Ecstatic love for Krishna is never manifested directly with Krishna himself. The devotee has to follow in the footsteps of the eternal associates of Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. When transcendental humors in relationship with Krishna become mixed with the relationship with Krishna, Krishna. I just lost the space there. When transcendental humors in relationship with Krishna become mixed, when the relationships with Krishna in friendship, servitorship, and parental love become mixed together, the result is called mixed humor or flavor. Such mixed transcendental flavors are manifested by such devotees as Uddhava, Bhima, and Mukara, personal attendant of Mother Yashoda. Although devotional humors are sometimes found in mixtures, a particular humor is always found to be a prominent and constant factor. That prominent humor is to be accepted as the devotee's main relationship with Krishna. For example, Uddhava is in relationship with Krishna as a friend, but in Uddhava's character, a trace of servitude to Krishna is also visible. Such friendship is called friendship in reverence. The friendship typified by Sridham and Sudam, however, is the standard of friendship without any tinge of reverence. Okay, next person.
Subordinate ecstatic love. The devotee who always think of Krishna as a superior or in subordinate ecstatic love. To such a devotee, the concept of inferiority to the Lord is very prominent, and he rarely take interest in any other kind of transcendental loving humor with the Lord. Sostra, compiled by King Kulashekara, one of the prayers says, "My dear Lord, you are the deliverer of living entity from the hellish condition of materialistic life. But that does not matter to me whether I am elevated to the heavenly platform or remain on this earthly planet or I am dispatched to some hellish planet. That does not matter at all to me. My only prayer is that at the time of my death, I may simply remember your two beautiful feet, which are just like a lotus flowers fructifying during the autumn season." Friendship. As far as friendship is concerned, those high grade devotees who are almost like Krishna are considered to be great authorities in the modes of friendly relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On that friendly platform, there are different kinds of laughing and joking conversation. Friendly relationship with Krishna is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, where Krishna was once thinking, today, while I was engaged in tending the cows in the pasturation ground of Vrindavan, I went to collect some flowers in the beautiful garden. At that time, my friends, the cowherd boys, were unhappy even to tolerate a 2 minute separation from me. And when they found me, there were competition between us as to who first the flowers we had in hand. Our friend criticized Krishna thus, my dear Damodar, although you have been defeated by Sridhama and have become sufficiently minimized in strength, but a false expression of strength, you have somehow covered your shameful condition of defeat, parenthood, and superiority. When Mother Yashoda heard that Krishna cow were being forcibly moved by the strong servant of Kamsa, and that the tender cowherd boys were trying to protect their cows, she began to think, how can I protect these poor boys from the invasion of Kamsa's servant? This is an instant of superior attitude in a devotee. Mother Yashoda found her son Krishna returning from pasturing ground, she immediately began to pat him, touching her fingers to the cheeks of the Lord. Conjugal love. Above, even the humor of love between Krishna and his parent is a parent relationship of conjugal love. The Lord and the young gopis exhibit this in different ways, glancing, moving the eyebrows, speaking very sweet words, and exchanging smiles. There is a statement in the Govinda Vilasa to this effect. Srimati Radharani was looking for Krishna very anxiously and almost disappointedly. When there is such an indirect expression of conjugal love, there's a smiling, astonishment, enthusiasm, lamentation, anger, dread, and sometimes ghastliness. These seven exchanges of conjugal love form another state of ecstatic love. In a direct relationship of conjugal love, there is laughter, astonishment, chivalry, lamentation, anger, and dread, but there is no ghastliness. These expressions are considered to be the great reservoirs of pleasure. When these seven kinds of ecstatic love exchange are manifested, they attain the status of steadiness by which the taste of conjugal love expands.
Chapter 33.
30.
Indirect expressions of ecstatic love, laughter. After he had stolen some yogurt from the pots of two gopis, Krishna told one of his gopi friends, "My dear beautiful friend, I can take an oath that I have not stolen even a drop of yogurt from your pot. But still, your friend Radharani is very shamelessly smelling the flavor of my mouth. Kindly forbid her from this devious policy of putting her face near mine." When Krishna was speaking like this, Radharani's friends could not check their laughter. This is an instant of laughter and ecstatic love, astonishment. Once Brahma was watching all the cows and the cowhead boys are dressed in yellow garments and decorated with valuable jewels. The boys were expanding their forearms and were being worshipped by many hundreds of other Brahmas. All the cowhead boys began to express their joyfulness for being with Krishna, the supreme Brahman. At that time, Brahma showed his astonishment by exclaiming, "What am I seeing here?" This is an instant of astonishment in ecstatic love. Kaivalry. On the bank of the Yamuna, once there was the crackling sound of dry leaves, giggling from the cowhead boys, and thundering from the sky. Sridhama was tightening his belt to fight with Krishna, the conqueror of the demon Aga. This is an instant of cavalry in ecstatic love. Lamentation. In the 10th canto, 7th chapter, verse 25 of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a description of Krishna's being taken away by the whirlwind demon Trinavarta. As Krishna was being thus carried up into the sky, all the gopis began to cry aloud. They approached Mother Yashoda, stating that they could not find the son of Nanda. He had been taken away by a whirlwind. This is an instance of lamentation in ecstatic love. When Krishna was fighting with Kaliya, Mother Yashoda exclaimed, Krishna is now entrapped within the hoods of the Kalia snake, and yet I am not tattered to pieces. So I must admit how wonderful is the preserving power of his material body. This is another instance of lamentation in ecstatic love, anger. When Jatila, the mother of Abhimanyu, saw Krishna wearing a necklace, she could understand that the jeweled ornament had been given to him by Radharani. She therefore became absorbed in anger and began to move her eyebrows, expressing her anger in ecstatic love. Ghastliness. There is a statement by Yamunacharya to this effect. Since I have begun to enjoy these transcendental exchanges of love, which are always newer and newer, whenever I remember the pleasure, my lips curl and I wish to spit on the idea. This is an instance of ecstatic love in ghastliness. Somebody else would. Okay. Dread. One old devotee said, My dear Lord, when we are away from you, we become so anxious to see you again, and there is a great misery in our lives. But then, when we do see you, there immediately comes the fear of separation. Under the circumstances, both when we see you and when we do not see you, we are subjected to different kinds of tribulation. This is an instance of a contradictory mixture of ecstatic love for Krishna. Such ecstatic love is palatable, and expert critics have compared such ecstatic love to a mixture of curd, sugar candy, and a little black pepper. The combined taste is very palatable. Somebody else would like to read?
I think it's better that Krishna has to read now.
Okay, thank you. Chapter 34 The Nectar of Devotion. The particular type of ecstatic loving sentiment that develops within the heart of a particular devotee is considered to be and resultant manifestations such as moving of the eyebrow, astonishment, and smiling, which have been explained herein before, are called anubhava. These different causes for developing anubhava and vibhava are called steady ecstasy or sanchari bhava. Whenever there is a recitation of poetry or a dramatic play on the different pastimes of Krishna, the audience develops different kinds of transcendental loving service for the different types of vibhava, anubhava, and sanchari bhava. No one, while remaining on the material platform, should discuss these different descriptions of bhava and anubhava by quoting different statements of transcendental literatures. Such manifestations are displays of the transcendental pleasure potency of the Lord. One should simply try to understand that on the spiritual platform there are many varieties of reciprocal love. Such loving exchanges should never be considered to be material. In the Mahabharata, Udyama Parva, it is warned that things that are inconceivable should not be subjected to arguments. Actually, the transactions of the spiritual world are inconceivable to us in our present state of life. Great liberated souls have tried to give us some hints of transcendental activities in the spiritual world, but on the whole, these transactions are inconceivable to us at the present moment. Of transcendental loving service with Krishna is possible only when one is actually in touch with the pleasure potency of the Supreme Lord. In this connection, gives an example of the clouds in the sky. The clouds in the sky arise from the ocean, and when the clouds become water again and fall to the ground, they glide back to the ocean. Thus, the pleasure potency of Krishna is compared to the ocean. The pure devotee is the pleasure-possessing cloud, and when he is filled with transcendental loving service, then he can bestow his mercy as a downpour of rain, and the pleasure potency returns to the ocean of Krishna. Direct and indirect attraction for Krishna. Transcendental pleasure derived from devotional service can be divided into two groups: direct devotional service and indirect devotional service. Direct devotional service is divided into 5 transcendental humors or flavors, and indirect devotional service is divided into 7 transcendental humors. Direct devotional services are as follows: neutrality, servitude, fraternity, and parental and conjugal love. Indirect devotional service is divided into laughter, compassion, anger, chivalry, and ghastliness. Devotional service can therefore be divided into 12 types, each of which has a different color. The colors are white, multicolored, orange, red, light green, gray, yellow, off-whitish, smoky, pink, black, and cloudy. The 12 different kinds of transcendental humors are controlled by different incarnations of God, such as Kapila, Madhava, Upendra, Nrsimha, Nandanandana, Balaram, Kurma, Kalki, Raghava, Bhargava, Varaha, and Matsya. Sustenance, manifestation, and lamentation are the 5 visible symptoms in exchanges of ecstatic love. The test of devotional service can therefore be made in terms of these 5 symptoms. In the devotional service of neutrality, there is sustenance. In chivalrous devotional service, there is expansion. In compassionate devotional service, there is reflection. In angry devotional service, there is lamentation, and so on. An apparently pitiable condition in devotional service may appear distressing to the inexperienced student, but the feelings of the devotee in this pitiable condition are considered to be ecstatic by expert devotees. For example, the subject matter of the Ramayana is sometimes considered pitiable and distressing to the heart, but actually that is not the fact. The Ramayana narrates how Lord Rama was sent to the forest by his father. Just when he was going on his departure, Maharaj Dasharath, his father, died. In the forest, his wife, Sita Devi, was kidnapped by Ravana, and then when Sita Devi was finally delivered from the clutches of Ravana, Ravana's whole family and kingdom, and Ravana himself, were vanquished. When Sita Devi came home, she was tried by fire. For some days, she was again banished to the forest. All of these subjects in the Ramayana seem very pitiable, and they may appear very distressing to the reciter, but actually they are not. Otherwise, why would Hanuman, the great devotee of Lord Ramachandra, read daily about the activities of Lord Ramachandra as described in the Ramayana itself? The fact is that in any of the above-mentioned 12 transcendental humors of devotional service, everything is transcendentally pleasing. Srila Rupa Goswami mourns in this connection for persons who are in the fire of false renunciation, the dry speculative habit, and who neglect devotional service. Persons who are attached to the ritualistic ceremonies recommended in the Vedas and to the impersonal Brahman cannot relish the transcendental pleasure of devotional service. Sri Rupa Goswami advises, therefore, that devotees who have already tasted the nectar of devotion be very careful to protect devotional service from such dry speculators, formal ritualistic elevationists, and impersonal salvationists. Devotees should protect their valuable jewel of spiritual love from the clutches of thieves and burglars. In other words, a pure devotee should not describe devotional service and its different analytical aspects to dry speculators. Those who are not devotees can never achieve the benefits of devotional service. For them, the subject of devotional service is always very difficult to understand. Only persons who have dedicated their lives unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead can relish the real nectar of devotion. When one transcends the status of ecstatic love and thus becomes situated on the highest platform of pure goodness, one is understood to have cleansed the heart of all material contamination. In that pure stage of life, one can taste this nectar, and this tasting capacity is technically called rasa, or transcendental mood. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta summary study of the second division, the matter of general devotional service. Jai, nectar devotion key.
Jai.
Hi.
Wonderful.
Oh, you're here, Karuneshwari Mataji Jai.
I came for the last 20 minutes. I was out earlier.
Okay.
I got back. I just last 20 minutes, but it was a good 20 minutes. There was
Yeah,
I
we were
agree.
here as well. Mhm.
I
We,
sure mean
we were,
people.
it was just
Yeah,
the
we
three
probably
of us,
joined at the
I
same
mean the
time.
four of us.
Pardon?
Sorry?
What did you say? I couldn't hear. There was a lot of noise there. I missed what you said. You said it was just something.
Sirumi was speaking, I think, and then I didn't want to go on. Anyways, in one chapter.
It's happening again.
Okay. Anyways, would you
yeah.
like to read?
Are we? Do we have time, or are we stopping for?
You have 10 minutes more.
We'll start the new. Is it the new? Is the second? Is it second or third part?
Chapter
Part
30.
3.
I think
This is
it's
part
the
3.
third.
Part 3, yeah. Or maybe we should start part 3 on Monday. Or
Okay.
we have 10 minutes
We could-
otherwise.
We could just discuss then now, couldn't we?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
This was such a beautiful.
Yeah.
I thought so too. Even though I only got 20 minutes, there was a few points I was thinking about, but you probably
We
already
have started so early.
thing.
Mataji, we were just waiting for you to come. We started at 7:30.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah,
you start?
we were just talking for half an hour.
Oh, you started. Oh,
Yeah.
so I only missed 10 minutes then.
No, I think you didn't miss anything. We spent 1 minute there.
Is Manu Prabhu there? Manu, are you there?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm here.
I just didn't hear your voice. Okay.
No, I know. No, I'm actually no, I was just looking ahead there to see. Yeah, the part 3 is that's the third wave, I think it's called, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean we're nearly 3/4 ways through, actually.
Is there
Wow.
any way you could show this screen again, the writing? Because there was a point in the last bit that we read that really struck me, and now I've forgotten what it was.
Oh yes, sure. Okay, I'll start screen sharing again. Yeah, this last chapter was amazing. I think it kind of related to what we were talking about earlier.
Impersonal and
I need to go back. Sorry,
I
this
got
is
it. I
the.
saw it already. I caught it. It's good. I found the bit I was looking for.
Okay, great.
But maybe someone else wants to speak first because I only got the end of it.
No, go ahead.
I'm sure we want to all hear you, Mataji.
I'm sure you don't. Okay, well, one of the things that struck me just there is when Prabhupada's talking, like he often does, about how only the devotees can understand this science of Godhead, and how there was a term he used for the Gyanis, the particular term he used there. I've forgotten it now, but it was to do with speculating and I think it was put slightly differently than usual, but it means the same thing. He's speaking about the impersonal speculators and the karmis and how they can't understand this. And I was just thinking how, for me, reading this all these years, reading these same points from Prabhupada about this, that I've had the tendency to change that perspective a bit now. It's like, not that you don't follow that instruction, and it's not that you don't be careful to, not to preach to people who are not going to appreciate it and make offenses, but to understand that there are a lot of people out there who are, they're not all just karmis and impersonalists, although there's a lot of them. There's you know, a lot of people to appreciate and a lot of people to relate to. And, you know, just to shift my perspective like that, you know, to try to be more broad-minded about how we can spread this. Just that's what's on my mind these days in general, how to be more broad-minded with the, you know, practicing Krishna consciousness and trying to spread it whilst understanding these points that Prabhupada makes about it.
I think I was going to say, I think a lot of devotees who are kind of in that field of, you know,